Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So far this winter, Central Albertans have been enduring poor highway maintenance. Highways like the QE2, 12, 21 and 50 are not being properly maintained, and this is jeopardizing their safety. Obtained documents show the companies contracted to do maintenance on these highways have failed to meet their obligations. Last year alone, 75 financial penalties to only 5 companies. To the Minister of Transportation, why is this government letting highway maintenance companies getting away with putting Albertans at risk over and over?
It's concern to many Albertans out there who travel Alberta's highways on a day-to-day basis. Many of my constituents obviously want to make sure that our highways are maintained in the proper shape that they should be by the contract providers we do. And that's why our Minister of Transportation has a pretty healthy budget from this legislature, one that the party across the way would like to cut. They advocated for a cut of about 1/3 of our capital budget out of the last budget discussions. We disagree with that. We think the minister should continue in working with his department to try to make sure that these contractors do as good a job as they possibly can.
Honourable member.
Again, Mr. Speaker, we just wanted to cut administration and the cost of the minister's office.
Hear, hear.
Mr. Speaker, given that over 5 years, 303 penalties have been issued, totaling almost $1.7 million in fines, and given that 2/3 of these penalties have gone to one company, Carillion, what is the government going to do to crack down on the persistent failure of these companies to live up to their obligations?
Mr. Speaker, I think the member just emphasized that the minister is doing his job and his administration is doing their job. If they're doing oversight of these companies and they're issuing penalties and they're holding them to account and they're on top of them, you would see these kinds of things happening, and you are. Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure how the minister is expected to cut his administration and come up with the $1.623 billion worth of cuts that this party from across the way has suggested that we take out of our capital budget.
Honourable member.
I understand Education Office increased 32%.
Here, here.
This government doesn't take road safety seriously, as it appears that these companies put the fines into their business plans. Given that Carillion has received almost 200 penalties for its failure to live up to its contractual obligations, will this government take immediate and decisive action to ensure that these frequent offenders do not take on new contracts with the Alberta government until they can prove that they can meet the requirements of the old contracts?
Mr. Speaker, this government is on top of our contractors all the time, and I think the evidence that the member has brought forward is speaking to that. Obviously, we tender contracts on a regular basis that are open through the New West Partnership and others to all kinds of jurisdictions and all kinds of vendors. So that's another way that contractors are held accountable. These things come up on a regular basis, and they'll continue to come up, and the minister will continue to look at the contracts, and he may be able to give the member a more detailed answer when he returns.
The honourable member for Calgary Mountain View, followed by Edmonton Calder.